In response to a tweet on X, the owner of David's mansion in Los Angeles stated, "Or maybe the case is 10 times bigger than we think and many arrests are coming." Now, I believe we have a pretty major case on our hands. If the actual owner of the house David was residing in says that, which would explain why there hasn't been an arrest yet. Given the recent information we've received that numerous people were involved in the crime, I assume the homeowner said this. Steve Fisher, the private investigator, claimed to have CCTV footage showing the final person driving David's Tesla, possibly with Celeste's body inside.
I mean, it comes very close to the camera. You can see the person and you can see what they're wearing, something pretty distinctive, and there's photos 12 hours earlier, a person at the house wearing the same thing.
Additionally, we now have additional proof that other persons were aware of the relationship and were involved. Take what Steve Fisher discovered. For instance, David Celeste and her cousin Esmeralda were reportedly visiting Six Flags together 16 days after she was reported missing in April 2024. It's very crazy that he found a Build-A-Bear certificate with Esmeralda's name on it inside David's property. As I mentioned before, Celeste was only 13 years old in April of 2024. Her own family let her visit this adult man after she was pulled out of school. I mean, it seems like her cousin was there with her. The problem is that she went to Esmeralda's graduation with her family not long after they went to the amusement park, or her uncles and aunts at the very least. A few months later, in September, we caught her fighting with her neighbors at her family's house on camera. Why she was still reported missing is the question. Why didn't her relatives call the police and report that they had located their daughter? Like, did she really go missing? Or did her family simply file a missing persons report so she could skip school and do anything she wanted to meet David?
And they should have notified law enforcement that Celeste is not, we've located her, and then they intervene and find out what's going on. But that didn't happen.
Well, we've just put she was a runaway, but was she really missing? I mean, I've lost count now of the sightings and the moments where she was together with family members. You have heard that the family told people after Celeste went missing not to look for her.
And yes, I was told by a source very close that on the last time she went missing, the family members were saying, don't look for her. She's staying with other family members near LA. And all of a sudden we see a lot of interaction with Esmeralda and Esmeralda's mom. So it's, these are all dots we're collecting, and, and then we'll connect them.
Which makes me wonder, what were they saying if they meant family members, that she's staying with family members? Because if she was staying with David, he was no family member.
And you know what? Prior to then, 2 years prior, Celeste and Esmeralda were seen in a photo at a scissor concert David was playing at in October 2023, when Celeste had just turned 13. This was a month after Celeste's 13th birthday. Did Esmeralda bring her there so she could watch over her as she connected with David at the age of just 13? It is repulsive. Since her entire family followed her on social media, they were undoubtedly aware when Celeste shared a photo of her and David together. Additionally, David responded to several of her family members on Twitter. Check out this Instagram account for Shelly. She goes by Dole. She shared several photos of Celeste, and they follow each other, so it's obvious that she knows her. Next, examine this. On Twitter, David really replied to her tweet. There are even direct messages from a Shelly girl claiming to have met David, in which she discloses that Celeste initially misrepresented her age to David before eventually disclosing her true age. Let's be honest. I mean, David was undoubtedly aware that this girl was 13. She certainly acts like it, looks like it, and sounds like it, because let's say David was unaware of her age. So why did he keep her a secret? Why didn't he share her online? Why aren't there any group pictures of Celeste and David? She was concealed on purpose. We only learned last week that he had rented a covert residence for her to live in order to conceal her. Contemplate it. To conceal his 14-year-old girlfriend, David bought a second home. I find it very absurd that her own family was aware of all of this and chose to ignore it. In my opinion, they were dazzled by David's wealth and his status, which is why they permitted this. Take a look at the comments that others have left. They were charmed by being so near to a wealthy celebrity, so they didn't care. It's almost as if they were trying to get close to her. Unfortunately, I believe that many individuals would follow suit, not even out of malice, but just because celebrities enchant people. The family was fully aware of the situation. We have actual photographic proof that shows Celeste and her relatives together at graduations and family gatherings. Despite this, she was purportedly a missing child. It's clear that their primary motivation for reporting her missing was to maintain appearances and convince law authorities of the fraud, and people continue to try to absolve them of responsibility for the risk they put a young, defenseless girl in. It is simply unbelievable. Take a look at this video of David answering a question regarding whether or not he is in a relationship while he was on live with Jason.
Who are you thinking of? Or you just were making
That was
songs?
just, that was it. I wasn't really thinking of nobody. I didn't even have a girlfriend at that point. You know what I'm saying?
You have a girlfriend now?
It's just very complicated point of my
Oh,
life
shit.
right now. You know, especially navigating through an album process. You gotta have a muse. You gotta write songs about somebody, right?
Oh shit. So you be thinking of TP? I'm doing too much?
He's attempting to be enigmatic by claiming that it's difficult. She is a literal child, so of course that is the case. Complicated or unlawful. It's difficult because I'm abusing and controlling a youngster. We would now have additional proof that several individuals were genuinely involved in Celeste's murder and cover-up. Steve Fisher would send out a huge tweet on X, essentially suggesting that everyone involved ought to feel ashamed of themselves. You are awful individuals who will live in misery for the rest of their days. There is one particular paragraph that, in my opinion, tells us a lot. I'll read it out. I considered how you have to wake up every few hours knowing that your life is over because you lacked the bravery or dignity to ask for assistance. You were more interested in fame and being a star than in a child's existence. I immediately wonder, why is he saying they didn't call for help? They wouldn't have called for assistance if they had killed her on purpose. Which, in my opinion, only serves to confirm that this was an overdose or other medical problem, because even though they didn't really kill her, they still have a 14-year-old child in their home, who was most likely given drugs and died from OD. They will therefore likely be arrested for causing that death if they call the police or an ambulance. First, for having a small child at home, and second, for providing them with drugs. I mean, I can picture the LA party scene. A bunch of kids, or rather, young adults going out partying, getting wasted, and stealing things. Sometimes things go wrong, like it might have with Celeste here. Because we know from the comments of the neighbors that this LA mansion was in fact a noisy party house. Many individuals enter and exit. A neighbor contacted 911 on Sunday, July 20th, 2025. According to information the U.S. Sun received through a Freedom of Information request, police didn't get to the house until 8:57 a.m. Despite the call being placed at 4:38 a.m. requesting a public nuisance complaint. According to an LAPD spokeswoman, the noise issue was caused by loud music playing. However, it was fixed when the police arrived at the residence. Celeste and David were previously seen together at an event, even if it didn't take place at the house. Take a look at this photo of them together during Influencer Noah's birthday party in July 2024. It's really strange that they were keeping their connection a secret, but it's also not like he attended parties with her or streamed live on Twitch. He even shared photos of her, although naturally, her face was obscured. A creepy man. Now that we're talking about other individuals being implicated in the crime, let's discuss Neo, David's right-hand guy. I'll read you this post written by Steve Fisher. Let's assume that just before the tour began in San Francisco, the Tesla was relocated and left in the parking space where it was seized. In reality, who moved the Tesla for the last time? If you don't ask questions, you won't obtain answers. So is it Neo, I wonder? Just intrigued. Now, in my opinion, you are undoubtedly involved when a private investigator, the person who most likely knows the most about this case, suggests that you might be a suspect in a crime. Neo is actually David's best friend. Based on what I've read and heard, he has no career of his own or anything. He's just a David groupie, which leads me to believe that he might have been helping David move the Tesla or conceal the body. I'll read you this. Well, I believe that while David was still on tour, Neo returned to his estate. David carried the digital camera on the first day of the tour. Neo left for the remainder of the tour following Caddy's performances. Private investigator Steve Fisher discovered a digital camera containing Celeste's last picture at the estate. Neo most likely returned to the mansion and abandoned the digital camera. What? Who can say? Just so you know, Neo concealed all of his tagged Instagram postings that were extremely suspicious as soon as Celeste's body was found. He left the tour, in my opinion, because David told him to move the Tesla so it wouldn't be towed or appear suspicious. He might have used the camera's placement as an excuse to enter and exit the property. And about a month ago, before his name was really referenced in any of this, Neo would post a message on his Instagram story. I mean, I have to say something eventually, but I kind of detest making myself feel alone because people on the internet tend to assume the worst about people and will make up anything to be true. So, when I'm ready to adore everyone who has truly shown me kindness and refrain from making assumptions, I'll say something. I suppose from his point of view, it makes sense to avoid making a big announcement or statement on David and Celeste, as it would draw a lot of unwelcome attention to your name and create a major headache. However, wouldn't you want to clear your record if you were innocent? Perhaps simply state, "Oh, I had no idea about Celeste and David. I'm not engaged. I prayed with the Celeste family." However, he tries to appear enigmatic and tough. He shared an Instagram story of himself partying to the song Stop Breathing by Playboi Carti just a day ago. That's pretty tone-deaf and unpleasant, in my opinion. We believe your pedo best friend killed a young girl, and you are currently involved in an ongoing investigation into her death. And you're doing just that. It's sick. even if he is innocent. Alas, for him, this post will further exacerbate the situation. Ne-Yo was given every chance to talk. Even before the Pi ever linked his name to the Tesla, he released a statement. However, doubts about whether he was operating the vehicle began to emerge. For weeks, he was silent. And now he reappears out of nowhere with a party. And now he appears out of nowhere with boastful lyrics and a party photo. That's not selfish. That person is making an excessive effort to appear unconcerned. People who are innocent don't go from saying, "I'll explain everything soon," to disappearing and then returning while being indifferent. At best, that pattern is worrisome. The choice of lyrics is also hilarious. Hee. Following the PI's public admission that he knew he was driving the automobile, people were observing everything I did. Ne-Yo was David's right-hand guy. To cut a long tale short, he obviously had access to David's cars and mansion. He abruptly left the tour. He was the last person to move the Tesla. So in my opinion, he is aware of the situation. I mean, it was even recommended by a private investigator. You cannot possibly be David's best friend and be unaware of his underage girlfriend. Unless David was really good at hiding it. Before I go on to some potentially positive news in this segment of the video, don't you guys think it's strange that nobody has commented? Throughout his career, David most likely made hundreds of friends and connections. We don't have anything yet. Everyone said nothing. All I can recall off the top of my head is Jason Nen stating on stream that he doesn't support David's behavior even though he hardly knew him. Then Carly Lucas announced that she will take their music off of streaming services. However, it is exactly it. He knew hundreds of individuals, but only two. He was a famous man. Every month, he had 40 million listeners. He was a professional artist. The quietness of everything is both strange and annoying. Nothing from his friends, label, cops, or anything else. We don't have much, even from the Celeste family, which is likely due to their guilt. They were aware of the situation, but since he is well known and wealthy, they chose to ignore it. Let's move on to some fantastic news that could ultimately result in a significant breakthrough. Steve Fisher mentioned a few days ago that we should receive her toxicology results and cause of death shortly. Based on the tracking of LA County medical examiner cases, it seems that up until perhaps September 1st or 2nd, the majority of the fatalities that were previously labeled as deferred, probable pending toxicology results now have documented causes and manner of death. This implies that within the next 10 days, a decision in the Celeste Ruiz Hernandez case may be made. This does not imply that the entire autopsy report will be finished by then. Rather, it means that a preliminary categorization of the cause of death and mode of death, natural homicide, suicide, accidental, or unknown, will probably be done. This is predicated on the time frame of her case being comparable to other recent instances at the medical examiner's office. Thus, it will undoubtedly be enormous if we receive that. We'll be able to determine if she was murdered or dead, which should aid the police in their investigation and, ideally, lead to some arrests.
Steve, let's talk toxicology report. First, I gave a little hint there. You have the answer, though. Why is it that we think the toxicology report on Celeste might actually be coming sooner rather than later?
Well, I've been tracking the cases around deaths around the same time as hers and from the weeks before, and those that were in deferred status have been changing over to, having cause and manner. There are a few cases that still haven't, but there are several cases actually on the same day, on the 8th, September 8th, as hers, that toxicology has come back because they now list some of the other people's deaths as effects of fentanyl or whatever. So I believe her initial tox may be back, and they're still working through, cause and manner. But there's also a good chance, because of her state of decomp, that they have to send, this out for additional testing or a different type of testing to get, a result.
Since the homeowner is implying that there will be a lot of arrests, the Pi is essentially calling out David's entire circle, and the toxicology results are reportedly only a few days away. It truly feels like we are sitting in the car before the storm at this point. Imagine waking up tomorrow to find David detained and under arrest. According to TMZ, that would be absurd. It's obvious that there's far more to this than anyone is letting on, whether it's one individual or a group that suffers. The label says that all friends, family, and Celeste's family have all remained silent. They are either guilty, afraid, or both. And see, everything shifts when those reports are out. Those who attempt to clean up after an overdose are equally as guilty as the person who initiated it, if it was indeed a cover-up. It's no longer merely a tale about David the singer. It tells the story of how money keeps people silent, how fame blinds people, and how a little girl died because no one had the courage to act morally. Please share your opinions with me in the comments section below. Was Ne-Yo the one? Will any arrests occur soon? And what do you believe took place in reality? Everyone, stay safe. Comment, subscribe, and like. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you all at the next